I see you looking at me and you know that I'm an African American female. No matter where I go and no matter what I do, and no matter in what capacity you find me, that is who I am. So you have to know that the events of this last week was very tragic to me, and I felt it personally. And I don't have to tell you that I've had experiences in my own life that would trigger me in having a response to this. But what I know is that we cannot stay in the place that we have landed. That we must be able to not let what's happening on the national scene impact and destroy the experiences that our students should be having in schools and in our communities. We have to be the ones that take charge. We have to be the ones that dictate what our present environment is going to be. We might not be able to change what happened, but we can change how we respond to it. And as a leader, my responsibility is education. That's my responsibility. That's what I went to school for. That's what I've dedicated my life to. And if there's anything that this event is, it is something that we need to learn from and grow from and heal as a community. It's very important that we learn our history so as not to repeat our history. Doesn't matter if it's on purpose, accidental, none of that matters. We need to learn our history so that we can allow our students not to repeat and not to have the experiences that we had or that our ancestors had. We need to find a way to heal and to move forward as a community because we cannot stay where we are. It's not about hate. We have to come together as a people and be able to do what we need to do to make a difference.
Come on, everybody, put your hands together for Anaya Askew, a student at Homewood Flossmoor. Come on, Anaya.
Good morning. My name is Anaya Askew, and I am a sophomore at Homewood Flossmoor High School. I first off want to say thank you to Reverend Jackson, Reverend Wilson, and all of Rainbow Push Coalition's staff. 2 weeks ago, I had the privilege of attending the HBCU College Tour of 2019. I was able to see many colleges, but I also was able to visit cultural sites like the Lynching Museum. I was overwhelmed with feelings of sadness and defeat because of all the things that I saw at that Lynching Museum about how everything that our ancestors have been through. But then I started to feel hopeful and confident because of how much that we have overcome as a people. But then last week, this past Saturday, I was made aware of 4 of my white classmates driving around my neighborhood in blackface. I was disgusted and I was upset that my classmates had the audacity to do that, and not only that, but claim ignorance to how culturally offensive it was. I had a hard time going to sleep that night because my mind began to wonder and think about everything that we've been through and how we have a movement that was made, Black Lives Matter, 6 years ago in 2013. And I began to think, why? Why do we need a movement saying that our lives matter? And I just couldn't understand that. After 51 years after Martin Luther King Jr. passed away, we still need to be reminded of how important our lives are. This is about, Black Lives Matter is a movement that campaigns against racism and violence against Black people. Why is there a need for this type of organization? This is a life that my mother does not know. This is a life that my grandparents could not fully experience. So why am I, a 15-year-old girl in the Cook County of Illinois, dealing with these type of problems? I just can't understand that. So my classmates and I made a choice to walk out of our classes, and we did that. On April 30th, we decided to walk out of our classes because, number one, we didn't feel respected, we didn't feel valued, and we didn't feel safe in our own learning environment. There is more to be done in my South suburban community, and not only there, but in our nation as a whole. And I'm committed to doing whatever I can to help that cause with your help. Thank you so much.
Amen. Anaya Askew, Homewood Flossmoor High School. And keep those hands together for Dr. Vaughn Mansfield, their superintendent. Come on, Dr. Mansfield.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to say thank you for giving us an opportunity to be here. And the young lady who so eloquently spoke on behalf of Operation Push and said, you call Jesse L. Jackson when you need something. I did that. The good news is I've worked with Dr. Reverend Jeanette Wilson in Operation Push for some time in terms of making sure I had a strong knowledge base in what to do. I was a product of the 60s. I saw Reverend Jackson march with Dr. King. I had a deep understanding of what I needed to do, and as our student just said, 50 plus years later, we're still trying to do it. So I think in terms of what happened at Flossmoor, even though this situation didn't happen in the school, it has dramatically impacted the school. So as far as trying to give out appropriate information in this age of misinformation, that's what we've been trying to do. The school absolutely supports our students. They did a phenomenal job walking out. Anytime and in a situation like this, you have the police officers who were dispatched, the state troopers who were dispatched, the additional surrounding community police officials who were dispatched, come up to you afterwards and say, you know what, we didn't have anything to do. Thank you so very much. Your students expressed their very fundamental constitutional right to express themselves, and that's what they did. So I will tell you in terms of what we need to do moving forward, and I spoke with Dr. Anderson and we've spoken to our students, and we're at a point where we also need to speak with our parents and ultimately hope Operation Push can help speak to our community, because it's going to take all of us to move from this point forward. And Dr. Anderson is a history teacher, and she told me, you know, it's so interesting. History has a tendency to repeat itself, and what have we learned from it? So I think for our students, this is the perfect life lesson. As you continue to move forward, it's really not about the situation as much as it is about what you've learned, because you're going to have to apply it to a future situation. So again, I thank you so very much for giving us an opportunity to share and to be a part of what should be a perfectly wonderful opportunity for us to move forward, so that in the future we can continue to do the great things that we're supposed to do the right way. Thank you.